If you're a market gardener making $40,000 per year, you probably feel proud until you realize that means you're earning less than the local living wage for a grocery store clerk. Let me show you why you're actually going backwards financially if you make that much, and why most farmers and many other small business owners don't realize this mistake until it's too late. Thanks for watching the video today. I'm Diego, D-I-E-G-O, and I talk about being profitable when you run a small farm business. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the concept of earning a living wage. If you pull up MIT's living wage calculator right now and type in your county, don't take my word for it, check for yourself, you'll see a number that might make your stomach drop. The number that you see, that's not thriving, that's not comfortable. That number signifies one micro step above poverty. It's the minimum to keep a roof over your head and food on the table. No savings, no vacation, no retirement, no equipment replacement fund, pure, straight financial survival. Bare bones, skin of the teeth. If you're in rural Kentucky, that's around $47,000 for a family. If you're in suburban Virginia, approximately $89,000. Your area, probably somewhere in between. Here's what's happening to most small farms, and they don't even know it. You're 25, you're physically strong, mentally ready to go after it, get it done, crush it, no kids. You make $30,000 a year farming, and you think, I'm living my dream. I'm my own boss. I work outside on the land. Life is good. But you're only making $30,000. So in year one, you skip a visit to the dentist. Year two, you put off some truck repairs. Year three, you borrow money to buy equipment. Year five, credit cards cover seed orders now. And year seven, you're working off-farm jobs just to stay afloat financially. In year 10, sadly, you're not farming anymore. You're someone with a very expensive garden hobby. This isn't a rare story. It's actually much more true than I think most people realize when it comes to the economics of small-scale farming. And the USDA supports this. The USDA calls these retirement or lifestyle farms. 2/3 of all farms in the U.S. fit that category, not just the small ones we talk about, but a lot of the mega huge ones as well. These retirement farms are farmers making under $350,000 in sales, and they get 76% of their income from off-farm work. So that threshold point often signifies the point where you're not making enough to survive. So the farmer has to go work off-farm, or somebody in their family does, just to support their family. If we look at these economics closely and we do the uncomfortable math, not farm math, life math, this is what it looks like. Health insurance for a family, $12,000 a year. I pay for a family of five, $1,400 a month. It's crazy. It's a lot. It adds up. Mortgage or rent, $18,000 a year minimum. Maybe a little cheaper in parts of the country, maybe a lot more in other parts of the country. Food for 4 people, that's around $10,000. One reliable vehicle, the wear and tear maintenance on it, and the payments, $6,000. Utilities, clothing, phone, all that other good stuff, another $8,000, including emergencies, the stuff that breaks when you really don't want it to break. When you add all that up, it's not that bad, right? Wrong. It's $45,000. And you haven't bought a single seed, you haven't repaired a single tool, you haven't saved $1, you haven't paid for childcare if you need to, you haven't set aside for anything for retirement when your back gives out when you're 55 if you don't take care of yourself. And that's even before saving a single dollar for next season or saving a single dollar for your future self. When you start adding in basic business costs, seeds and such, that's another $15,000 to $25,000 minimum. You have to net, not gross, net approximately $75,000 to $85,000 just to exist sustainably on a family farm. That's for most people in most parts of the country in the current economic reality. Our grandparents, a little different then, they could farm 40 acres and raise 6 kids because costs matched output. But when a house costs nearly 2 years' salary then, compared to 10 now, and that's when college cost is what you made in a summer for a summer job, not what you make in a decade. And it's when medical bankruptcy wasn't a thing. Inflation's gone rampant, costs are crazy. You just simply need to make more these days to survive than they did 50, 75, 100 years ago. If you don't realize this, then what you're trying to do is live this 1940s, 1950s dream with 2020s costs. And the math doesn't work. It never will, unless you make it work in your favor. So be sure to do that math. The beautiful, painful truth in all of this, you could be an excellent grower, beloved at markets by your customers, grow completely organic. Look at the amazing things you're doing for the environment. You can be such a hard worker working 80 hours a week and still, despite all of it, be failing financially. Because growing good vegetables, having extreme work ethic, and running a profitable business are completely different skills. I wanted to make this video because it's important. And it's not about crushing dreams, it's about providing clarity to guide dreams in the right direction. If you are starting a farm or want to start a farm, you have 3 choices. 1, just accept that farming is an expensive hobby and you subsidize it by other work off farm. There's no shame in that if you choose to do it consciously. You just have to make that choice. Some people will do this and they'll call it homesteading. Some people will sell some stuff off of their homestead and that becomes farmsteading. It's a little micro business wrapped up in a hobby, but predominantly it's a hobby. Choice 2, radically restructure your operation to hit that $75,000 a year net or whatever the actual numbers dictate in your actual area for your actual situation. This means you have to know your numbers. And a lot of people don't know the numbers, not just the business numbers, but the financial numbers of running your life, rent, food, gas, all that type of stuff. And then you have to make your business fit to those actual numbers. When you adjust the fit, this might mean changing the business, specializing, raising prices, changing markets, or yes, scaling up to the point where your sales go up enough to draw your profits or your net up enough just to survive. And the final choice 3, the most somber of the choices, get out before the debt gets worse. There's no shame in this. You didn't fail. You made a real life decision based on the current reality. And sometimes the bravest thing that you can do is admitting that the numbers don't work. I've ran a business now for almost 10 years, this business almost for 10 years, and I've made a lot of financial mistakes, some that have 3 or 4 zeros after them. I'm not proud of them, but I am proud now of being able to look at those mistakes and look at current mistakes with a calm mind and just say, I flubbed up. That was a bad move. We need to get out of this. And it was hard because ego plays a big part in it and just your pride. If you're running a business that can't support your lifestyle, stop waiting for the proverbial lottery ticket to hit. You either get out or you change the business to make it work. There's no shame in any of these choices, but there is shame, extreme shame, in ignoring the math and doing nothing. What you can't do, what is slowly destroying thousands and thousands of small farms and lives, not just the entrepreneurs' lives, but their spouses' lives, their families' lives, is pretend that $30,000, $40,000 a year net is enough because we don't need much. We're not big spenders. We live a low-key lifestyle. Talk to a 60-year-old farmer who's been getting by on $30,000 for decades. Ask about their retirement savings. Probably don't have any. It's probably all in their land. Ask them about medical debt. Ask if their kids are taking over the farm. Ask how stressful their life has been for the last 30 years getting by with just enough. Their sob stories, their silence will tell you everything. I know it's sad, and it's not meant to be pessimism. It's reality. This is math. That's important because eventually you're going to need money to live off of when you can't work as much or you need to hire somebody. So you need to build a business around that. It can't just be you surviving forever and you running the business forever because eventually that's not going to work. You have a body that is equipped to run for a while, but it slowly depreciates with age. You wouldn't run your vehicle into the ground without ever doing maintenance or saving for a replacement. So why do it yourself? Your energy, your drive, the support of others around you, that's a finite resource. Your time has value. When you don't account for these things in your pricing, in your planning, you're not being noble or simple. You're just slowly liquidating micro slices of your future one day at a time. I know farmers who've realized this at 45 when they have bad knees, a lot of debt, and kids needing college money and a family that's stressed to the point of just crumbling at a pin drop. They scramble to make changes, but it was sad because it was too much, too late. I've seen families divorce because of the financial stress. It's real. Stop avoiding the numbers. If your numbers don't work now, they're not going to look better with a decade of rising costs and stagnant farm growth. And then there's others who approach it very smartly. Tony Barlow of Barlow Roots Farmstead comes to mind. I've done several podcasts with him. You can check him out right here on this channel, who approach this very much with the numbers. And they made changes and they made hard decisions. And now as they're getting older, they're working on being financially free, with their farm playing a big role in it. It's the same business model, market gardening. You're growing the same crops. It's just different math. Tony isn't doing something different on his farm to succeed at a small scale than somebody who flames out. But he is doing something different when it comes to the business and financial planning side of things. It matters. One group can love farming and think one group can just be hard workers and think that's enough to get them by. But the last group, they love farming, they're hard workers, and they know the numbers, do the math, and respect it and honor it for the gospel that it is to help guide their business into the future. If you want to put your farm business on the right track or get it right back onto track, here's things you can do this week, even today. 1, calculate your true living costs. Not what means scraping by that living wage from the MIT calculator, what you actually need for a sustainable life, including saving for emergencies and just saving for fun and saving for a rainy day and retirement and all those good things. 2nd, calculate your true net farm income, not gross sales. Gross sales are important because usually the higher your gross sales, the higher your net, but some people are big spenders and that's not always the case. Calculate your true net farm income, not before you pay yourself, your net after all of your expenses, how much you actually make it. 3rd, subtract the second number from the first and see if you have a surplus, meaning you can put savings into the bank, or you run, unfortunately, like some governments that are somewhat local, at a deficit, and you're bringing in less than you're sending out. Not good for anybody at any scale. That gap, that's an unbiased view of your farming future. It's reality. And if you can look at that number and pretend it doesn't exist, say, yeah, whatever, I'm all good. Or you can look at that number and say, what changes do I need to make with my business and my life that this number brings to light? Hopefully, you'll land on that solution at the end of the day. Remember, you cannot solve a problem that you can't acknowledge, and a lot of people have a big financial problem with their small farm business. The living wage that we talked about today is not just an arbitrary number created to make you feel bad. It's reality. It's the mathematical minimum for sustainable life in modern America. I didn't pull this out of thin air. It's a number coming from MIT who's pulling data from everywhere and doing research. It's real. Stop hiding from it. If your farm can't provide that amount of income, you're not really farming. Admit it. You're not. You're volunteering at your own farm at your own expense. Think about it that way. Yeah, it's interesting. And while you might feel noble when you're young, it will feel very different when you're older, when you have no savings, the stress is high, medical bills pile up, and people wonder what could have been if we had gone a different path. At the end of the day, if none of that landed, hopefully this closing will, the numbers don't care how much you love farming or how good you are at farming or what you want to do with the food system. They don't care. 67 just thinks, am I enough? Am I not enough? Ask a youngin' and they'll think 6'7's all the thing. Hey, if you don't get it, you don't have kids. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I'm Diego, Diego. And until next time, be nice, be thankful, and do the financial work to make all the other work actually worthwhile. Catch you later.